Look at that fucking guy on the ATV. Scourge. Those guys come through here every now and then, but whatever. I'm not gonna get too deep into that rant. I'm not gonna go carrying out on the ATVs and the scooters like that guy. Although that, or whatever, they get a green light, but more often than not I see what. Okay. I'm not gonna get into it. What I do want to talk about are some of the upgrades to the Ducati that I've got planned over the next couple of months, and what it feels like to get rear-ended on a motorcycle. Now, don't get fucking excited. The bike didn't go down. I'm totally okay. I know you're wondering. It was a tap, but it was still a significant event. Anyway, we'll get to that. I'm away to New Jersey here, see the folks. So I'm going cross town east to west. Sometimes I forget my sense of direction. A lot of the time I forget my sense of direction. Anyway, this is like rush hour. It's like damn near, I think it's like 5:30. And oddly, it was actually pretty empty. Not nearly as busy as it could be. Anyway, a couple of upgrades that I have planned. Some of these upgrades are definitely for looks. A couple of these, specifically the slave cylinder, the clutch slave cylinder, like you see the clutch, and for those not aware, on the left hand, my left hand controls the clutch. Every time I pull it in, it and I've got wrist problems. It's really out of space. Yeah, NYPD, and I just passed that NYPD car, by the way. They generally don't, like, I lane split in front of them all the time. Just me, like, checking the mirrors to make sure that the guy is not being dickish, sitting still. I lane split in front of them kind of all the time. And, like, as long as you're not being a dick about it, like endangering people and revving like crazy and just, generally not being a dick, they leave me alone. They leave me alone. The traffic kids here. Anyway, so the clutch slave cylinder, upgrading the clutch slave cylinder to a slightly larger one, from what I understand anyway, it reduces how hard it is to actually press in the clutch. And considering that I ride in the city, I press in the clutch approximately 7,000 times a day. My approximation. And so I've got wrist problems as it is. Started with my right wrist, it's now my left wrist because the left wrist compensates. I had an MRI done a couple of days ago. That's beside the point. Anyway, it's meant to make the clutch action, I think it's like 30% softer, which is going to be fucking amazing. It's going to be great. So that's coming in. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to change the reservoirs, the two black things that you see on the right of my left hand and the left of my right hand. So I'm going to change those out because those are hideous. That has nothing to do with any kind of benefit. It just looks better. Speaking of wrists, hands, the grips, the stock grips on this monster in particular, I guess maybe it's all monsters. The stock grips on these monsters, or on my bike anyway, they're really narrow. They're really kind of like small in terms of diameter. This is Rockefeller Center, by the way. The stock grips are really narrow in terms of diameter, and so it really kind of it puts riding pressure on a smaller footprint on my hand, and so it's like these guys. And so the heated grips, I know for a fact because I used to have it on my Scrambler, are much wider in terms of diameter, or probably because they need space in them for heating coils, etc., etc. And so I get the benefit of both worlds, right? New good grips are going to be about $100 anyway. Heated grips are like $300, so yeah, it's 3 times the cost, but Heated grips are amazing in the winter, even if you have heated gloves. And I ride with heated gloves. I ride in the winter, and I use my heated grips, my scrambler, all the time. And the OEM heated grips actually integrate in with my dash, so fantastic. So it's heated grips. I'm also going to get a Rizoma black bar. The thing that I probably hate the most on this scrambler looks-wise is this stupid aluminum bar. Nothing else on the bike is aluminum, or not much on the bike is aluminum, aside from some of the engine casings. So it just looks out of place. I'm going to change that out to a black aluminum Rizoma bar system. Some weight saving for this bar. I am, so I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever I press the brakes, you get this squeal. And I was told that it's because totally gonna butcher this, but the brake pads that come installed in these bikes, they're fine brake pads, they're Brembo brake pads on a Brembo system. Oh, careful. If you're a tourist coming into the city, by the way, and you're crossing in the middle of a street, even if you see parked cars, just make sure that there's no one else coming. Anyway, long story short, the pads get this like buildup that it's almost like rubbing glass on glass at some point, and that's why they squeal. And so I'm going to put on racing brake pads, which are going to wear a little bit faster, but they won't make that noise. And honestly, they're better pads. Pay attention to this Accord on the left-hand side that I'm passing right now. So we're going to go into this little bump here in a second. Now, generally, I'm not who you should be concerned about, right, on the road. In general, motorcyclists. Now watch this guy. I go, he's still going. He thinks that, you know, I don't belong up here, right? That I'm cutting him for whatever reason. And again, don't worry about me. You know, I understand that it's upsetting that you're not in front of me, but you're not going any faster than if you would have gone if I wasn't here. You're not. I'm not cutting in front of you. I'm my own thing. Now watch this. Boom. I thought I had stalled the bike. Hey guy.
Are you out of your mind?
Now, fully apologetic. I have no idea if he meant to do that or not. I'm going to assume that he didn't mean to do that. I'm going to kind of assume that he's not a terrible individual. And honestly, like these Uber drivers and taxi drivers, the last thing that they want is an accident on their record. So again, I'm going to assume it was an accident. I get probably about like 1 or 2 honks a day. Like it's pretty normal. I ride every day. I ride, you know, a good chunk of the day, and I'm pretty happy with kind of the kind of like day-to-day outcomes. I'm happy that I survive every day, and I have kind of very, very few incidents, let's just say. But I will tell you that that hit didn't feel like, in general, it's, you know, it's essentially a very light kick, right? That's what it felt like. But it just came out of nowhere. It felt like I had stalled the bike. I will tell you that if it was any harder, you know, I don't think that the bike would have gone down. But the impact in combination with nerves could have done something. I could definitely see how low speed impacts like that in a motorcycle can be really serious. And the guy probably just misjudged distance, right? He looked at my body and kind of underestimated just how long the motorcycle was behind me. Anyway, careful with these yellow plates, super slippery. If you notice, I'm not like even here. Watch. it wasn't stupidly quick acceleration. Like you know, I try to kind of, if you're going to accelerate, maintain that acceleration. If you're going to brake on those things, maintain a steady brake. This is heading right into the Lincoln Tunnel. This is, in a car, this is the most maddening fucking on-ramp, whatever you want to call it, in the city. So happy when I get to do this on a bike. Just watch this. This is why you ride in the city. And cops here, like there's always cops planted right at the entry and exit of these tunnels. They don't really care, again, as long as you're not endangering anyone and whatnot. But anyway, look for some of the upgrades coming in on the bike. I'll probably do videos on each one. I don't think I'm going to do how-to videos. I just don't know enough on installing them. Just, yeah, careful out there.